Let's imagine we want to build a framework for building graphical user interfaces. So other people can use this framework to build applications with a graphical user interface. They can create forms with various types of input fields like text boxes, checkboxes, drop-down lists, and so on. Now, all these objects share some common behavior. For example, we can enable or disable them. We can set their size in terms of their width and height on the screen, and so on. When coding these classes, we don't want to implement all these features in every single class. That's where we use inheritance to reuse code. So we define all the common behavior in a single class, let's call it UI control, and then have other classes inherit these behaviors from this class. In this example, we refer to the UI control as the base class, superclass or parent, and textbox as a subclass or child. Let's see this in action. So here I want to create a new class called UI control and define all this common behavior inside this class. So let's add a new class to this package. We call it UI control, and note that I have capitalized the first letter of every word. Okay, Pascal naming convention. All right, what behaviors do we want to define here? For this demo, let's add the ability to enable or disable each UI control. So here we declare a private Boolean field called isEnabled. Now, initially, we can set this to true because all UI controls should be enabled by default. We can disable some of them depending on the values in our form. Now we need two methods to enable or disable this object. So public void enable. Here we simply set isEnabled to true and public void disable. We set isEnabled to false. Now we also want a getter to read the value of this field. So public Boolean isEnabled. Here we want to return the value of our field. So note that both the field and the method have the same name, and that's perfectly fine because these are different types of members. All right, now back to our main class. Let's use our UI control object. So we create a new control object. Let's disable it first, and then print control.isEnabled. Let's see what we get. We get false because we disabled this control object. Beautiful. So we implemented this feature inside this UI control class. Now let's say we want to create a text box class. We don't want to repeat all this code. We want to reuse it, and that's where we use inheritance. So earlier in the course, we created this text box class. Now here we have a tiny issue. We declared this field as public because we didn't talk about the abstraction principle. So let's change this to private. Now, to have this class inherit all the features that we implemented in our UI control class, we simply type extend UI control. Now let's go back to our main class and replace UI control with text box. See what we get. So this control object has these two methods that we declared in our text box class, but it also has these three methods that we declared in our UI control class. So it inherited these three methods. We also have a bunch of other methods. These are inherited from another class in Java, which we're going to talk about next.